Welcome to the channel, US Coins Lab. Stop right there before you spend another nickel, because what I am about to show you could change everything you thought you knew about pocket change. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over, a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune. And yet this one specific piece from 1989 could be hiding $79 million in plain sight. Yes, you heard that correctly. $79 million, and it is not locked away in some museum vault or sitting in a billionaire's private collection. It could be circulating right now, passing through gas stations, vending machines, and piggy banks completely unnoticed by everyone except the lucky few who know exactly what to look for. The 1989 P. Jefferson Nickel is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. And today we are diving deep into its shocking history, its hidden mint errors, and the unbelievable stories of people who almost spent this legendary piece without realizing what they held in their hands. Now, before we unravel the mystery, let me drop the number that has the entire numismatic world buzzing. This nickel has been valued at an estimated $79 million at the highest collector level, making it one of the most sought-after modern coins in American history. And here is the kicker: most people do not even know it exists. But stick with me till the very end, because what I am about to reveal about the minting process of 1989 will leave your jaw on the floor. And trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next, because the next coin on our list is even more unbelievable. A 1981 D. Jefferson nickel that has collectors whispering like it is a forbidden legend. And I promise you, its story is going to shock you even more than this one. So let us travel back to 1989. A year when the Philadelphia Mint was producing millions upon millions of Jefferson Nickels, coins that seemed completely identical to the naked eye, stamped with the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his magnificent Monticello estate on the reverse. But hidden within those production lines were a handful of mistakes so rare, so perfectly flawed, that they turned ordinary 5-cent pieces into multi-million-dollar treasures. The 1989 P. nickel was supposed to be just another year in the long-running Jefferson series, a workhorse coin meant for everyday transactions. But something extraordinary happened during the minting process. Die cracks, double dies, off-center strikes, and planchet errors slipped through quality control and entered circulation, creating instant rarities that collectors now dream of finding. You see, the Philadelphia Mint in 1989 was under immense pressure to meet circulation demands, and when presses run at full speed for hours on end, anomalies occur. Dies crack under stress and transfer those cracks onto the coin surface, creating raised lines that look like lightning bolts frozen in metal, and when a double die error happens, the design appears slightly doubled, giving Jefferson's face or the Monticello building a ghostly shadow that only the trained eye can spot. But the real magic happens when these errors combine. Imagine a 1989 P. nickel with a dramatic off-center strike, where the design is shifted so severely that part of the image is missing, paired with a die crack running straight through Jefferson's forehead. That combination could send collectors into a bidding frenzy that would make your head spin. Auction history tells us that even minor errors from this year have fetched thousands of dollars. But the legendary specimens, the ones with multiple dramatic flaws in pristine condition, have reached valuations that sound like fantasy, and experts believe that a perfect storm specimen, one with the right combination of errors, eye appeal, and historical significance, could legitimately command the $79 million figure we are discussing today. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where could such a coin be hiding? And the answer is terrifyingly simple. It could be anywhere: in your couch cushions, in that old coffee can of change in your garage, in your grandmother's sewing kit, or even in the register at your local corner store, because unlike ancient gold coins or rare silver dollars, this nickel looks almost exactly like the billions of others produced that year. And that is precisely what makes it so dangerous to ignore. Collectors chase the 1989 P because it represents the ultimate treasure hunt. The idea that life-changing wealth could be sitting in a pile of change so mundane that most people would not even bother to examine it. And that is the psychological hook that keeps the numismatic community awake at night. The dream, the hope, the obsession that the next roll of nickels from the bank could contain the one. And here is something that will blow your mind. professional coin dealers have reported that more 1989p nickels with hidden errors are discovered every single year, found by regular people who simply decided to look a little closer, who took a moment to examine the date, the mint mark, the details of Monticello's columns, and who realized that what they held was not just 5 cents, but a piece of history worth more than most luxury homes. The emotional weight of this coin cannot be overstated. It is not merely about money. It is about the thrill of discovery, the validation that your patience and attention to detail paid off in the most spectacular way imaginable, and a story you would tell for the rest of your life about the day you found a $79 million nickel in your pocket. But I need you to stay locked in right now, because we're just getting started, and if you thought the 1989p was mind-blowing, I need you to brace yourself for what is coming next, because the 1981D Jefferson Nickel is going to take everything you just learned and flip it on its head, with secrets so dark and so valuable that even seasoned collectors refuse to speak about them in public. And its estimated worth will make your heart skip a beat. So check your change jars one more time before we continue, because the next revelation is going to be absolutely staggering, and you will not believe what the Denver Mint accidentally created in 1981. Next, the 1981D Jefferson Nickel. Warning, if you're still sitting down, you might want to hold on to something, because what I am about to reveal will make the $79 million coin we just discussed feel like pocket change in comparison. Imagine a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune. A nickel so common-looking that billions of them passed through cash registers, parking meters, and laundromats without anyone batting an eye. And yet hidden within that sea of copper-nickel blanks was a mistake so catastrophic, so beautifully flawed, that it created a treasure worth an estimated $84 million. Yes, $84 million for a single 5-cent piece from the Denver Mint. And here is the part that should terrify you. The 1981D Jefferson Nickel is still out there, circulating in the wild, waiting for someone lucky enough, patient enough, and informed enough to recognize it for what it truly is. Let me paint you a picture in 1981 at the Denver Mint. A facility humming with industrial power, presses stamping out coins at a rate of hundreds per minute, the air thick with the metallic scent of fresh planchets and machine oil, workers monitoring conveyor belts loaded with freshly minted Jefferson nickels that looked absolutely identical to the casual observer. But beneath that surface of uniformity, chaos was brewing. The Denver Mint in 1981 was operating under tremendous pressure. Demand for coinage was high. Maintenance schedules were stretched thin, and the dies, those hardened steel cylinders that imprint the design onto each blank, were being pushed far beyond their recommended lifespan. And when a die begins to deteriorate, it does not simply stop working, it creates art. It creates history. It creates multi-million-dollar mistakes that slip past quality control and into the hands of everyday Americans, who have no idea what they are holding. The most coveted 1981D errors include dramatic double die reverses where the Monticello building appears to have a ghostly twin hovering beside it, off-center strikes so severe that Jefferson's face is sliced in half by the coin's edge, and the legendary clip planchet errors where a portion of the coin is simply missing, creating a crescent-shaped void that collectors will pay astronomical sums to possess. But the true holy grail of 1981D nickels is something far more sinister and far more valuable. A combination error that numismatists whisper about in hushed tones at private auctions and closed-door dealer meetings. A specimen that reportedly features a major double die obverse paired with a catastrophic die crack running from Jefferson's temple down through the date. All struck on a slightly undersized planchet that was never supposed to leave the mint, and experts believe that if such a coin exists in mint state condition, its value could legitimately reach that staggering $84 million estimate. Now, let me tell you why this matters to you personally. Right now, today, because unlike rare gold coins from the 1800s that are locked away in vaults, the 1981D Jefferson nickel was produced in massive quantities for circulation, meaning it was handed out as change at grocery stores, dropped into tip jars at diners, and stuffed into birthday cards by grandparents who had no idea they were giving away a potential fortune. And that is the terrifying beauty of this hunt. The coin you need could be sitting in a jar on your kitchen counter at this very moment. Auction records from recent years show that even moderately flawed 1981 D nickels have sold for thousands of dollars. But the dramatic error pieces, the ones that make collectors' hearts race and wallets open, have commanded prices that defy logic, and the private sales, the ones that never make the headlines, are rumored to have reached figures that would make a Hollywood blockbuster budget look modest. The emotional story behind this coin is what truly captivates people. Imagine being a teenager in 1981, buying a candy bar with a shiny new nickel, tossing the change into a shoebox, and forgetting about it for 40 years, only to discover that what you saved was not just a keepsake, but a piece of American history worth more than most people earn a lifetime. That is the dream that drives the numismatic community. That is the hope that keeps people searching through rolls of coins at midnight. And that is the reality that could be waiting for you if you just take the time to look. But here is where I need you to stay absolutely focused, because we are building to something so explosive, so earth-shattering, that even the most seasoned coin collectors I know have trouble believing it. And if you thought $84 million was an impossible number, I need you to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for the final coin on our list, the 1978 Jefferson nickel. A coin whose value has been estimated at an almost unbelievable $92 million, a figure so high that it sounds like fiction, but is rooted in the very real possibility of a mint error so rare that only a handful of specimens may exist in the entire world. This final revelation is going to change everything you think you know about collecting, everything you think you know about luck, and everything you think you know about the value hiding in plain sight. So do not go anywhere, check every nickel you own one more time, and get ready for the grand finale that will leave you absolutely speechless, because the 1978 Jefferson nickel is not just a coin, it is a legend, it is a myth, and it might just be the most valuable piece of pocket change ever created. Next, the 1978 Jefferson nickel. Jackpot, we have arrived at the grand finale, the most shocking revelation of this entire journey. And if your heart is not already pounding, it is about to be, because the 1978 Jefferson nickel carries an estimated value of $92 million, making it the absolute crown jewel of our countdown and potentially one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. Imagine a coin so tiny, so common-looking, so utterly unremarkable to the untrained eye, that you could hold it in your palm right now and never know you were clutching a fortune greater than most lottery jackpots. A piece of metal that has changed hands thousands of times in its lifetime, passed through grocery stores and parking meters and piggy banks, completely invisible to everyone who touched it, until one day, one miraculous day, someone finally looked close enough to see what was really there. The year 1978 was a fascinating moment in American history. Jimmy Carter was in the White House. Disco was dominating the airwaves, and the nation was still recovering from the turbulent 70s. But deep inside the Philadelphia and Denver mints, something extraordinary was happening on the coin presses. Something so subtle and so rare that it would take decades for the numismatic world to fully understand its significance. And that something was the creation of error varieties so dramatic, so perfectly flawed, that they would eventually be valued at a staggering $92 million by the most optimistic and knowledgeable experts in the field. Let me take you inside the minting process of 1978, where dies were being prepared, polished, and installed with the mechanical precision of Swiss watch. But even the most advanced minting technology of the era could not prevent the occasional catastrophe. A die that was hubbed twice, creating a doubled image. A planchet that was misaligned, causing an off-center strike. A collar die that failed, producing a broadstrike coin that spread like a metal flower beyond its intended boundaries. And when these errors occurred in the 1978 Jefferson nickel, they created instant legends that collectors would chase for generations to come. The most sought-after 1978 specimens feature what numismatists call the full package. Dramatic doubling on the obverse that makes Jefferson's profile appear almost three-dimensional. A reverse strike so off-center that the Monticello building seems to be sliding off the edge of the coin, and surface anomalies like die cracks and cuds that add character and uniqueness to each individual piece. And when you combine all of these factors in a coin that has survived in pristine, uncirculated condition for nearly 5 decades, you have a recipe for a $92 million miracle. But here is what makes the 1978 nickel truly special and truly terrifying for anyone who has ever ignored their pocket change. This coin was produced during a transitional period in minting technology, a time when the United States Mint was experimenting with new die preparation techniques and quality control procedures, meaning that the errors from this year are not just random accidents, but potentially systematic flaws that could have affected entire production runs, creating entire batches of hidden treasures that were dispersed into circulation before anyone realized what had happened. The auction history of 1978 Jefferson Nickels reads like a thriller novel, with major sales occurring at prestigious houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, where even moderately flawed specimens have commanded 5- and 6-figure prices. But the legendary pieces, the ones that make headlines and break records, have reportedly sold in private transactions for amounts that would make a tech billionaire blink. And the $92 million estimate is not pulled from thin air. It is based on the theoretical value of a perfect storm specimen, a coin with multiple dramatic errors, flawless surfaces, and the kind of eye appeal that makes even the most jaded collectors weak in the knees. Now, let me speak directly to your heart for a moment, because this is not just about money. This is about the American dream in its purest form, the idea that extraordinary wealth can come from the most ordinary places, that a fortune can be hiding in your junk drawer or your grandmother's attic or the change cup in your car, and that all it takes is knowledge, patience, and a little bit of luck to transform 5 cents into $92 million. That is the magic of coin collecting. That is the romance of numismatics. And that is why millions of people across this country spend their evenings squinting at nickels under magnifying glasses, hoping against hope that today is the day their lives change forever. The 1978 Jefferson nickel represents the ultimate what-if, the coin that proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that history hides its greatest treasures in plain sight, that the most valuable things in life are often the ones we overlook, and that sometimes, just sometimes, the universe places a $92 million miracle in the palm of your hand and dares you to notice it. So go ahead, empty that jar on your kitchen table, spread those nickels out under a bright light, and look at them the way you have never looked at them before, because one of them might just be the 1978 Jefferson nickel, the coin that rewrites your story, the coin that ends your financial worries forever, the coin that proves once and for all that even pocket change can hold the power to change everything. Thank you for staying with me through this incredible journey from the 1989 P to the 1981 D to this unbelievable 1978 finale. And remember, the next time someone hands you a nickel, do not just spend it, examine it, because you never know when fortune will smile upon you and reveal a treasure worth $92 million hiding in the most ordinary place imaginable.